Hello, Athens. Welcome to the Classic City Business Podcast. Our mission? To connect our community to the local business owner. If you love Athens and love supporting the people behind our businesses, then you're in the right place. We get to know the people behind the sign. Some are legends, others are on their way. You're listening to the Classic City Business Podcast with your friend, your host, all-around great guy, and owner of Generations Commercial Cleaning, John Gluck. So get ready, buckle up, hang on, here we go. Hello, Athens. Welcome to the Classic City Business Podcast. I'm your host, John G., and today we're connecting our community to the people behind the sign at Slow Pour. So I've got John with me on the show today. John, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What we're going to do right off the bat, I'm going to give you an opportunity to formally introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about your business and what you guys do specifically.
Well, my name's John Reynolds. I am one of the founding partners here at Associates Beer Collective. My brother-in-law, Marty Mazzowie, is the other founding member here. We started our business in 2017 when we opened our doors in September of that year here at Slow Pour Brewing Company as Gwinnett County's first craft brewery.
Yeah, so we're over here in Lawrenceville, downtown Lawrenceville off of North Clayton, over here by the railroads.
Right.
Which used to be an area I used to hang out back a couple decades ago, not to age myself or anything. But you've got a lot going on. So we have this brewery here, and we've got the new one going up in
Hendersonville, North Carolina. We should be opening Trailside Brewing Company in a couple of weeks, we hope. But I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. So
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Then we have Outrun Brewing Company in Tucker, it's about a half mile from the back walk up of the mountain. And we're building out a location in Winder right now.
Yeah, so for my Athens audience, now it's going to make sense. So we got this one going up here in Winder, just around the corner from us. So you're going to have a total of 4.
4, yes, and we have another one that's in Tulsa.
Okay, so 5, okay.
Yeah. We kind of follow the market. So, IPAs are still king in craft beer. So obviously you'll always find a few different IPAs on. Same's true with sours. Sours kind of the next biggest category. We do some light lagers, some dark lagers. We do a little bit of everything here at Slow Pour. We're not really focused on one style. We try to diversify there. Same's true at Outrun. Trailside, we haven't opened yet, but it will be true there as well. So, each location has the markings of the head brewer that's there, so they're all...
Its own identity.
Yeah, the identity that each brewer brews a little bit different. We keep the standard the same, our SOPs, but the style, the way that they brew, some brewers are more of a feel brewer, some are more technical brewers, so it just depends. So you'll definitely taste the personality of the brewer when you visit our locations.
Do you have a signature beer, one that you call out, like it just has, I don't know, is it the first and maybe most popular? Is there any?
So our core beers here at Slow Pour, you'll find them year round, is Analog, which is a fruited sour. It's Nostalgia, which is more of a West Coast IPA. Southernality, which is more of that hazy IPA, fruit forward. And then Cotillion as well, which is a blonde ale. So we have 4 beers that we brew that are considered core here at Slow Pour. At Outrun, we have Daytona Daydream, which is a lager. We have 89 Kalani. So again, tasting kind of the personality behind each brewer. It's a passion orange guava beer, the POG, which is very popular in the brewing industry. Ryan Silva is one of the brewers and one of the founders of Outrun, and his family is from Hawaii. So that's kind of tasting a little bit of his heritage and his personality there at Outrun.
I don't know if this is a fair question.
Yeah.
But do you have a favorite?
I do. It's Southernality. That's my favorite. I've been leaning more into lagers, but in terms of what we offer that's always available, it's Southernality. And Southernality was brewed. We used to do a music festival here called Southern Wilds. My brother-in-law Zach is in a band called 1,000 Horses. One of their songs that they have on their album was Southernality, which is a blend of Southern and hospitality or Southern personality. They kind of blended both together. And we really like that concept and what Southern hospitality is and the way that you're treated with kindness and fairness. And so Southernality became a flagship brand of ours. Out of that, we brewed it for that event.
That was a specific brew for that event?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So this is a really cool venue. I don't know what I expected when I came in here, John, but the tasting room is huge. It's beautiful. It's the patio is awesome. I saw you have a food truck out there. This is a destination I think that I'm going to try to get back out here maybe with a friend. This is really cool. The one in Winder, is it going to be the same kind of setup? You have the tasting room and that kind of thing there, or is it just going to be a production?
The one in Winder, that's going to be our largest brewery that we have within the Socius Beer Collective group. I don't foresee us ever building a brewery larger than that brewery. In total, it's about 30,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
So we'll have 5,000 square feet dedicated to tasting room, 7,000 square feet for private event space. And when we do not have a private event, it could be overflow for the tasting room. I think it's about 7,000 square feet for brewing production. We have a barrel aging room that's off the side of that, lab space, an area for our grain silo, corporate offices. We have an acre for our beer garden, so it will be the largest beer garden in the state, which is located right next door to us. The building there is very neat. We talk about the building here at Slow Pour, which this building, the front part of the building where our tasting room is, was built in 1910. In Winder, the history is even further back. So it's like in the 1800s is when that building was built. I don't know the exact date, but it was a livery. So when Winder was a horse and buggy town, literally a horse and buggy town, when you came into town, you would leave your animals at the building that we're in overnight. So
there's a really bad joke there. Yeah. About never mind. We'll skip that. I won't do that to you, Athens. We'll just leave it right there. That's really cool, though. That's what's nice about this space. I think is you look around, you can tell it's old, and it's got some flavor to it. I guess I'm trying to think of the right word. It's really
a
cool.
patina to it.
Yeah, it's a really cool place. You know, I can see myself hanging out, and I can just see people jumping around, talking, having a good time.
Yeah.
So. And the patio itself is actually the thing I think impressed me the most. I don't mean to get off on that again, but that patio was incredible. And then real quick, and then we'll move on. But tell us about the garden out there.
Yeah. So our beer garden is a certified UGA pollinator garden. We have a master gardener that volunteers his time here, Tim Mullen. He brings in gardeners that are in the Master Gardeners program to become Master Gardeners, that they volunteer their hours. Those hours go to their credit to becoming a Master Gardener. And that area has evolved over the past 5.5 years from where it was an overgrown lot. On the other side there, it was where there was a small engine repair shop. And so there were lawnmowers out there, overgrown grass, and to where you see it now, where it's crushed terracotta up on that upper level, and we do fruits and vegetables that are donated to the Lawrenceville Co-op. We don't generate a lot, but what we do generate, we pass on. And we grow some hops out there too.
So what's really cool about that for me, and I've always loved this, and I think a lot of people do, is when you've seen areas of downtowns. I've seen it in Buford, Georgia. I've seen it actually in the bottle works in Athens. All these rundown manufacturing buildings that they've turned into not just something that's a business that you can go get, a restaurant or whatever, but they make it cool. Like they turn it into something that's beautiful. Like you want to go see it and hang out. And that's kind of what I imagine, Winder being. And then of course this location, that's exactly what it is. I think I told you off mic, it's been over a couple decades ago. I used to live in Lawrenceville and used to come over here to this area. There was a sandwich place, and just seeing what they've done with it, it's really cool. So that's a side note that has nothing to do with this, but I think it's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
Our second segment, John, is getting to know the person behind the sign. Sure. So let's have a little bit of fun. You ready?
Yeah.
What's something about yourself that maybe even somebody who's, a good friend, coworker, may not know, or might be surprised to learn, that would make them go, say what now? I don't know, some ambition when you were a kid. Or if they knew you had a hidden talent. I don't know.
That's difficult because I'm a pretty... I think if you talk to anyone within the Socius Beer Collective business, they would say, they would be kind, but I think they would say I tend to talk a lot. I think I'm pretty open about myself and what it is that I'm thinking. So I'm not sure when I'm passionate about something, people know it because I wear it literally on my
your sleeve
in some cases.
Okay.
So I don't know if I have.
No, you said it. You said it. I wear it on my skin. I'm going to get a picture of this and I'll put it on social media. But you were telling me about something you're wearing on your skin, your tattoo, and something that this audience obviously wouldn't know necessarily, but you were in corporate.
Yes.
For a period of time.
Yes.
So let's use this as an opportunity to talk about what happened and what made you go to this direction. Because you don't just wake up one day and go, you know what, I'm going to start crafting beer.
Right.
Right? And then the significance of that tattoo and describe it to us.
Yeah, sure. So I worked corporate IT for 15-ish years. I did everything from like workstation administration, so help desk. It's a glorified way to say that, into where I finished with IT, which was quality assurance and working on software products. Through that journey, I went from being more on the technical side to being more on the management side, and I enjoyed the management side. I really enjoyed working with people and helping people get to where they wanted to get within their career. Helping them to achieve some goal that they had set for themselves, and being a small part of that, and just helping to facilitate that. So through that journey, corporate can be very dry. It can be a lot of meetings, a lot of sitting in a room, and I would ask my why am I in?
I'm sorry, I fell asleep. What was that again?
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of that of like. Meetings on meetings to plan other meetings. And so I was looking for a creative outlet. My brother-in-law, we have a large family, so at Christmas time we would draw names as to what we would buy for, who we would buy for. He drew my name one year and bought me a 3-tier homebrew kit, and I started brewing in my front yard. It was my creative outlet that only I had input into as to what I was going to brew, how I was going to brew it. I controlled all the aspects of it. So I really enjoyed it. It allowed me to be creative as well as really have to control it. So I enjoyed all aspects of the brewing process. And we started talking around 2015 is when we really started talking about, because he had started a coffee company in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And I told him, in addition to there being no craft beers in the state of Georgia, not in the state of Georgia, but in Gwinnett County, that he should get his coffee into a beer. If you look, I was into Wake and Bake at the time, not literally waking and baking, but the beer by Terrapin there in Athens, Wake and Bake, which is a collaboration between Jittery Joe's and Terrapin.
That's right.
So Jittery Joe's coffee went into that beer. And so I saw an opportunity for him. I was like, you should get this coffee that you guys are getting roasted and packaged and get that into a brewery's beer somewhere here in the state of Georgia. And he was like, well, let's just start our own brewery at that point. So in 2017, we opened our doors as Gwinnett County's first craft brewery, which still blows my mind, being that Gwinnett County is the second largest county in the state and had no craft brewery to call its own at that time.
So I'm going to mix two things. I meant to ask you this question in the last segment, but slow pour. Mm-hmm. It's a cool name. Mm-hmm. It makes you pause, which I'm sure is very much the point. But that's not where the name started.
Right.
So share that story real quick with everybody about how we came to the slow pour.
So we came into this industry really not knowing how to do much of anything. We had a lot of help, a lot of good partners along the way, consultants that helped us. And in the beginning, when we started, we really were driving towards, to start with, saying something about where we were located. That was the first iteration of our name, which was 1821 Brew House. And 1821 is the year that Lawrenceville was incorporated. We got a little down the road with that name and found there are a lot of beers, a lot of beverages that use numbers in the name, and they're kind of cold. It doesn't have a lot of identity behind it. So taking inspiration from another Athens brewery, Creature Comforts, which really says something about who they are as a company, about kind of a little bit about their culture. We started driving down that path. Okay, how do we say something about who we are in our culture and what we're trying to do in our name? So we started with Slow Down Brewing Company. So slow down your pace, your pace of life, and kind of going back to a little bit of the old ways, a little less technology involved and a little more conversation. It's hard to have your phone in your hand if you have a beer in your hand. You do have two hands, but you can also have two beers.
I was just gonna say, that's going to like a two-fister right there.
Exactly. Yeah. So we started down that path, but there was a brewery that was based out of Alaska, Denali Brewing, that had a slow down brown ale, and so we had to pivot off of that name, and we arrived at Slow Pour with the same idea, that it was all about slowing down your pace of life and enjoying family and friends over a pint of beer.
I like that. I like the idea of, and you're right, Creature Comforts is exactly that. In fact, they've been on the show as well, and they talked a lot about their culture and what they're doing specifically in the community, and it kind of describes their Creature Comforts. When you say that name, it gives you a very clear identity. Yeah. So I like that. And that's when you told me that story earlier, I thought that's something we want to share with everybody. So that's kind of cool. John, I don't know how much free time you get, but when you do, book or movie?
Movie.
Sure.
Movie. I enjoy reading.
Do you like train movies?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're really getting the full effects of the ambiance here. Oh, yeah. We got the train tracks right next to us. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a movie guy. I enjoy books. I enjoy reading. But I really do enjoy just kind of unplugging my brain and being able to just absorb whatever's being given to me, since I feel like I'm pretty engaged most of the day. So being able to disconnect a little bit is useful.
See, that's the way I feel. Like sometimes it's just like brain numbing, just something going on in the background, just kind of let go of whatever's going on during the day. I love people who talk about reading, and that's cool if that's their outlet. I've had conversations with people about paper versus the digital reading, how that's different, and getting the details. Like I don't even care. Just give me a movie. I'll sit down and just enjoy it. Just let it do all the work for me, and then I'm good. But all right. So do you have a favorite genre of movies?
I like documentaries. I think real life is always more interesting than fiction tends to be. But typical male. I mean, I like watching action movies and all of that. But honestly, sitting down, dedicating the time to watch a movie is difficult. I've got 4 kids at home. Yeah. And then in addition, so I'm a big Braves fan, so right now especially, it's like every day I'm going home to either at my son's baseball practice, my daughter's lacrosse practice, or I've got the baseball game on now.
Time of life matters, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big sports fan. It's like I was telling somebody the other day, they were asking me about the NBA playoffs or something, which I haven't, NBA, NFL, I haven't really engaged like I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons for that, but a big part of it is, dude, there's only so much time. And so if I've got to pick one, it's going to be, Georgia football. I mean, it's college football season.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say this once, and I love this line, but they were getting to know somebody, and they said, well, what's your favorite season? Football season.
Yeah.
Fall? Nope. Football season.
Well, that's been interesting for us here because I'm a huge Georgia football fan. I check Dog Nation a couple times a day, see what's happening with the program.
Shout out to Brandon Adams over there at Dog Nation. Okay.
Yeah. I watch some of the YouTube stuff during the season, but as a small business owner, I've come to hate football season. As much as I love the program, it kills business, football season. So it can be, especially if it's a UGA home game, it really impacts business.
That's interesting. So you did tell me earlier that you'll host like watch parties or something like that?
Do, yeah. And that's been growing. I'm kind of over-exaggerating it a little bit, but we do the watch parties, and those are growing and they're doing better, but you have to really establish yourself as like the location to watch.
I know exactly. No, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like, trying to make some lemonade out of those lemons, but you got to know where to go, where the lemonade stand is there, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's good. I never thought about it like that, but I guess that's true.
Yeah.
They're headed that direction.
Yeah.
So, but not everybody gets to go to the game, right? So
that's true.
So I guess, you make it work or whatever. That's funny though. I never even thought about it in those terms. Like everybody's headed to Athens.
Yeah. Which is great. It's a great place to be.
Well, this is the Classic City Business Podcast, so
Yeah,
right.
You wouldn't choose to be here over Athens on a game day.
Oh no, absolutely.
Game day is magical in Athens. It's where you want to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what happens with, and this isn't a sports talk show, but it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens after next year in the 12-team playoff, and assuming that Georgia's still rocking and rolling, I'm sure they will be. They're actually gonna be hosting a playoff game.
Oh, nice.
That's I was just hearing about this the other day, that the first round, I guess, would be at the actual stadiums, and then I guess they go to the bowls or something. But that's for Brandon Adams over there at Dog Nation to explain to everybody. Right. But I'm excited to see what happens with that. But I digress. This is all about we're trying to get to know John, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to think of another really clever question that I can kind of catch you off guard with here, but. What do you like to do? I know you said, obviously you don't have a lot of free time, got the kids and stuff, but for fun, what do you like to do?
So I mentioned it before, but I really am a big Braves fan, big Dogs fan. So if the games are on, I'm watching the Bulldogs, I'm watching the Braves. I'm a big Disney fan. And there's a story behind that a little bit too. So my wife and I, we were lifeguards in high school, and she was in college at the time. She was a freshman, and I was a senior in high school. Oh, well,
look at you, stud. Come on. He had to slip that in there. Yeah, I was in high school dating a college girl, Yeah.
So we had a thing in Orlando, a little competition that we did there. So that's kind of the genesis story of our relationship. So my tie to it was there, so we've always had this love for that area and for Disney area. So we enjoy getting down there with the kids whenever we can. So that's another thing that we really like doing and enjoy doing. Other than that, it's doing stuff around the house with the kids.
And now you sound like a dad. Look at you, the right answer.
Yeah.
I asked you a question earlier, and we digressed, and I'm sure it was my fault. Sure. But we were talking about literally wearing something on your skin, and going from corporate to the brewing thing.
Yeah.
Tell us about the tattoo on your wrist.
Yeah. So this was 2016. I was late to the tattoo game. I got my first tattoo when I was 37, 38.
He's making it sound like he's like motorcycle gang guy over here. He's like got like tats all over. It's
No.
Yeah.
I've got four.
Oh, okay. So maybe you have more than I know.
This one I got on my last day at corporate. So when I was working at McKesson, I got laid off, but I had a tattoo appointment that afternoon to get a tattoo of it's a Minnie and Mickey tattoo, and they're cheersing beers. So I had this tattoo appointment scheduled. I got a phone call. We were already working on slow pour at that time. So we were...
Oh, so this was already in progress even before you got laid off? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So it's probably... about 6 months in on the planning and development of slow pour at that time. And I got laid off on a mass phone call. There's probably a few hundred employees on this phone call that were getting laid off around the holidays.
Of course.
Yeah. And I was just like, I knew I had in my back pocket, I had slow pour being developed, so I was just like, can we hurry up? Because I gotta get to my tattoo appointment to get this thing done. So, but yeah, it's a representation for me of my passions and the things that I nerd out about, which is beer and Disney.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Literally wearing your passions on your sleeve.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. My favorite segment always is going to be This Is My Athens. So I love to hear people talk about Athens, what they love about Athens. I actually got to meet you and your wife in Athens at Fully Loaded there at 5 Points. That was kind of a cool, weird meeting. I was sitting there. I'll share a quick story with you.
I'm kind of a guy who, when I find something I like, I always just get that.
Yeah.
And the bangers and mash there are so good.
All right, that's going to be on my bucket. That's going to happen this month. I got a birthday coming up next week, guys. By the time this airs, it'll be in the past, so don't worry about sending cards. But
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Maybe that'll be my birthday dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really enjoy Royal Peasant. I don't have much time to get out and do it anymore, but I would always enjoy hitting the breweries in Athens, Creature, the Snow Tire Factory, and
Yeah.
banging around to Authentic, to Academia, to on and on the list goes.
So speaking of Authentic, I'm going to give them a quick shout out here. We're sitting here in a brewery, and actually I was talking to you about something, and I want to bring this up and see if I can tie it together. But one of the really cool things that Authentic does, and we actually had Owen on the show. You guys may remember that. The comedy guy, the comedian there in Athens, but they do a comedy night on Thursday nights, which is kind of cool. And I was talking to you about, you're set up here, you have different venues and stuff. And so you guys do a comedy night like once a month. You want to talk about that a little bit? Maybe share a little bit about, I know this is my Athens, but I didn't want to miss that because, again, guys, I'm going to say this again, but this setup here, this venue is really a cool place. If you get in Lawrenceville or you're trying to just get out of town, this is a great place to go check out before we check out the one in Winder when it opens up.
Yeah. We try to have some programming on each night of the week. The comedy nights happen on Wednesday nights right now, and they happen once a month. And Wednesday is kind of a rotating night. So we'll have comedy on one Wednesday, we'll have bingo night on another Wednesday. We'll have I think it's called AR Workshop that does crafts. They'll come in, they'll pick a craft, like maybe making a charcuterie board or something.
What better event at a craft beer brewery than crafts, right? I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah. Do that on a Wednesday. So it kind of rotates through as to what we do on Wednesdays. But so every night we kind of do something. Thursdays is trivia. Friday we typically will have some sort of local musician. Same on Saturday. Sunday we're going to start doing brunch here pretty soon off the food truck.
They got a really cool food truck outside, guys. And again, I keep mentioning the patio. I sound like some I don't know. I don't know why I'm so excited about the food truck out there. But there's the patio, then there's another level where the food truck actually is. It's got tables and stuff. I'm just saying, if you ever get a chance to get out to Lawrenceburg, you're coming through, you need to check this place out. North Clayton. We'll get into all the details later, but yeah. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. I get excited. What can I say?
No. I mean, we do too. We love it. I mean, I mentioned I don't get much time to get out to too many places, but when I do, I tend to find myself in Lawrenceville, hanging around the brewery or going up down the square. There's a lot of really good, a lot of great options for restaurants and places to go downtown. And it's kind of why we chose Lawrenceville in the first place, because when I lived out here in Gwinnett County, I live in Stadium now, but when I lived here in Gwinnett County, my wife and I would think about, okay, for a date night, what are we going to do? We could drive 45 minutes to Athens or 45 minutes to Atlanta, but we always ended up in Lawrenceville. So we would end up at Local Republic or McRae's.
Yeah, but I know McRae's. They're on the square.
Yeah. And we were like, gosh, if there was just one more thing here, if there was a brewery, or if there was, really make it a full night, because otherwise we're paying a babysitter for an hour and a half of driving versus just coming here. So then when it came time to choosing a location, it really fit, not only in terms of geographically convenience for myself and my brother-in-law, but also in terms of a great option for people to go and have a place to call their own. So.
Yeah, no, it's a great venue here. I can't wait to visit and actually patronize y'all. So I'm excited about that. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wished I had?
Well, you touched on a minute ago. You touched on when we were talking about creature comforts, and you were talking about what they do, how they impact the community.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's a program that we're trying to build right now, which is called Brew Love Do Good, and you can check it out on our website. It's our way of trying to give back to the community of Lawrenceville. So we try to provide to our guests as well as our staff opportunities to get involved with nonprofits here locally. We just had our bingo night last night for the Lawrenceville Co-op. So we do some programming with them, going over and volunteering time. And we're really trying to build that program. You can find opportunities on our website. So if you go to slowpourbrewing.com and go to volunteer, the link for volunteer, you'll see our opportunities that we have available there to give back to the community. And our goal this year is, as a staff and as a community, to volunteer 1,000 hours.
Oh, wow.
So, and we're getting close already for this year. I think we'll update. If you look at that site, if you look at that link, the volunteer link, you'll see our current hours that have been donated to the community. We just had a large event that the hours did not go up on yet, but I think we're somewhere around 800 hours
nice.
right now. So we're excited about that and building that programming out and providing opportunities to our community, because the thing that was blew us away was how much people really do want to get involved, and they're just looking. They just don't know where to start a lot of time, and so we're trying to be that place where you can just go to and start. And you get a free T-shirt when you sign up to get involved. So we have a T-shirt.
Everybody loves a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right?
We give a Brew Love Do Good T-shirt, making the moment matter.
I like that slogan too. What about social media? Where can we find you on social media?
At Slow Pour Brewing on Instagram, slowpourbrewing.com on the interwebs. And we're on Facebook as well.
Okay.
For Slow Pour Brewing. And then outrun.com, outrunbrewing.com, and then at Outrun Brewing on Instagram.
Okay. Well, we're excited about Winder. We can't wait to see what that's going to look like. It sounds like it's going to be spectacular, huge and cutting edge and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we can revisit when we come back and get close to the opening.
Yeah.
Athens, Until next time, go dogs!
Sick 'em.
That was great. Okay, guys, we did it. We made it to the end of the show. Now that you've heard at least one episode, can you do me a favor? If you know someone you would like to hear on a future episode, you can contact us or have them contact us at podcastjohng@gmail.com or just message us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Just search the Classic City Business Podcast. You'll find us. One more thing. Please like, rate, review, and share. All of this really helps a lot. We really do want to connect our community to the local business owner. We believe this is a great platform to do just that. And thank you for taking this ride with us as we get to know the people behind the sign. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Athens, until next time, I'm John G. And go dogs.